Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Balin, and I'm with the CSE Veron Senior Design Project, and our project was over the wireless testbed. It was a UNL research project, and we're glad you're here today. I hope you enjoy our presentation and get something out of it.
The City of Lincoln and the university developed and deployed a wireless testbed around downtown Lincoln and the university's campus. Deploying experiments and collecting data was a tedious and time-consuming task.
So these are our stakeholders. We have David Young, who's part of the City of Lincoln. We have Dr. Verone, who's part of UNL, and then we have Michael Fay, who is a graduate student at the school.
So here's our team. As I said, my name is Josh Balin. I was the squad lead and the product manager for our project.
My name's Remington Brandenberger. I was the development manager for our team.
My name is Logan Helbush. I was a developer.
I'm Ethan Borden, and I was also a developer.
I'm Dominic Hessel, and I'm also a developer.
So the problem right now is that researchers wanting to use the testbed have no easy interface to use the testbed and can only use a command line. This can be very tedious and time-consuming. So the opportunity we had was to build a web application with a graphical user interface to make it much easier for the researchers to use the testbed.
So we had gone through some discussions about how we would do this, and we landed on the decision to use Docker as a tool to basically universalize where we could put our server, because we didn't know whether we'd be hosting on Amazon or on a university server, and this decision was very useful. We also went with a graphical user interface and just built a really smooth and nice design for that. We also built some GNU radio adapters, which Josh is going to talk more about.
Yeah, so GNU goes along with a program called GNU Radio, which is an open source platform that is used to actually communicate with the radios that make up testbeds. So as Logan touched on, before this implementation, interacting with those radios is pretty tedious. It was all done through command line and was just kind of complicated, and you actually had to be on UNL's campus network as well to actually access the radios and hit their endpoints. So one of the main parts of our implementation of our project was basically creating routing and adapters so that people outside of campus, people anywhere on the internet could actually go onto this interface and interact with these radios and submit experiments and get results. So that's just a little of a high level view of those GNU radio adapters.
Another area we worked on was abstracting scheduling issues. So the radios worked, as we said before, on the command line, and this caused issues with radio overlap and like knowing when to schedule a radio, because an experiment can only one experiment can be run at a time, and there was different versioning issues. So to avoid the issues, we actually developed our own scheduling algorithm that was just a simple priority queue that it was a combination of first come, first serve with priority. And this way we could get radios running quickly, but not have any radios that got stuck on the back end for an extremely long period of time. Here's Logan to talk about the database.
So for the database, we used MariaDB to build the database, and to help connect it to the app, we used object relational mapping library called SQL Alchemy.
And so here's a quick view of the building an experiment page within our interface. So as you can see, it's pretty simplistic. You actually come to your dashboard first, which you don't see viewed here, and you get a list of that user's current experiments, whether they're in a drafted state or they're currently running or they're done. But from there, you would add an experiment. You come to this page, and you actually can see the toggles here to add a name to your experiment and add radios, and then schedule is the end of the process. So as you can kind of see here, roughly a map of UNL's downtown, and these markers actually signify the locations of a couple of the radios. And so the cool thing, just one of the great parts of our project is that it's really really easy to use. So people can actually come here, researchers or whatever the case, and they can click on these markers, and actually by clicking they can say, hey, I want to use this radio and that radio, and they can specify which one would be the main radio. So for example, for these experiments you usually have a radio that is transmitting and a radio that's receiving, and so you can actually do that within this map here, and then you can go through this add radio process to define certain things like frequencies of the radios, and add load or upload experiment files, and the versioning of both the GNU radio versioning and the UHD versioning. And UHD is basically a package that all the radios contain, and it basically is the interface and a very low level protocol for how the radios communicate with each other.
So during this year-long project, we learned a ton of things about software development and best practices. Some of these things include different strategies for managing development between multiple people and understanding how we can communicate better and more efficiently. We also learned how to meet deadlines, meet fast approaching deadlines when we don't have a lot of time. Also, we learned a lot more about different languages and databases and how they interact with front end, back end. We also learned how to operate as a team more effectively. Understanding communication between different roles, very important. Also, the development life cycle from inception to end, we learned a lot, especially in the beginning when we were learning how to plan effectively for future releases.
We just wanted to thank you guys for watching, and we hope that our presentation showed you a high-level insight of our project. And again, we just wanted to thank our sponsors, David Young and Michael and Dr. Varan, for investing in us this last year over the life cycle of this project, and also for the senior design faculty and staff for supporting us through it and giving us the resources needed. So yeah, thank you guys.